Ladies and gentlemen, all right, ladies, let me hit you with some hard truth today. We all know love can be complicated, and relationships can make us do things we never thought we'd do. But here's the thing. There are some things you should never do when it comes to a man, no matter how much you care about him. Trust me, these mistakes can cost you your peace, your happiness, and even your sense of self. Now you might be thinking, I love him, so what's the harm? Well, I'm here to tell you that sometimes loving him means knowing when to pull back and take control of your life. You see, it's not about being tough or cold. It's about setting boundaries, respecting yourself, and understanding that you deserve the best. If you're tired of feeling drained or unappreciated, you've got to stop doing these 5 things. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to protect your heart and build a stronger, healthier relationship. Don't miss out. This could change everything. One of the most important lessons you can learn in any relationship is to never compromise your self-worth for a man. This is a trap many women fall into, especially when they are deeply in love. They begin to believe that in order to keep the man they care about, they have to change who they are. They feel they have to mold themselves into what they think he wants, even if it means ignoring their own needs, desires, or values. Let me tell you something right now that's a huge mistake. You see, self-worth isn't something you can negotiate. It's the foundation of who you are. And when you start compromising your self-worth just to please someone else, you start chipping away at the very essence of yourself. I get it. Love is powerful. You want to show up for the person you care about. You want to be the partner they need. But here's the kicker. The right person will never ask you to change your fundamental self to be with them. They will love you for who you are, flaws and all. Let's break this down. When you're constantly adjusting, shrinking, or hiding parts of yourself to fit into the mold you think your man wants, what happens? Over time, you begin to lose sight of who you really are. You stop doing the things that bring you joy, the things that make you you. Then maybe you give up hobbies or friendships because he doesn't understand them or doesn't support them. Maybe you start saying yes to things you actually don't like just to keep the peace. Or worse, you put aside your career goals, your dreams, or your ambitions because you feel like they might threaten the relationship. Before you know it, you've transformed into someone completely different. You've forgotten how to stand in your own power, to love yourself for all that you are. And let me tell you, this is dangerous because eventually resentment starts to build up. You may even begin to feel trapped in your own life, like you're not the person you once were. The more you compromise who you are, the more disconnected you'll feel, both from your partner and from yourself. And here's the truth. That resentment will eat away at your relationship. You'll start feeling like you're giving more than you're getting. And that imbalance will create a rift between you and the person you love. Worse still, if your partner isn't willing to love you for who you are, if he's pushing you to be someone else, that's a huge red flag. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. But if I don't make these sacrifices, he might leave me. What if he finds someone else who's more of what he's looking for? That fear is natural, I get it. We all want to feel loved and wanted. But here's the thing, you don't need to change yourself to keep someone who truly cares for you. A man who loves you for who you are, who sees your value without you having to compromise your principles or personality. Is the man worth keeping around? If you start changing who you are to keep someone around, you're inviting insecurity into the relationship. You're saying that your worth isn't enough unless you meet his every expectation. Here's the kicker. when you remain true to yourself. When you don't compromise your core values, you'll start attracting men who appreciate you exactly as you are. You'll attract people who respect you, who honor your boundaries, and who are willing to build a healthy, balanced relationship. If a man loves you, he will love the things that make you unique, the little quirks, the interests, the goals, and the passions that make you you. Those things should never be negotiable. If you're constantly feeling like you have to change in order to fit into his world, that's a sign that you might not be in the right relationship. Remember this, your self-worth is not determined by someone else's ability to appreciate it. It's not based on whether or not he likes your hair, your body type, your career, or your hobbies. Your value comes from within. If you believe in your own worth, if you love yourself for who you are, then you're already enough. A real man will recognize that, and the man who doesn't, well, he's not the one for you. So, never compromise your self-worth. You're already amazing, just as you are. And if someone can't see that, then that's on them, not you. Stand strong in your authenticity. Love yourself first, and the right kind of love will follow. Ignoring red flags is one of the biggest mistakes a woman can make in any relationship. It's something that often happens when we're so emotionally invested in someone that we overlook the little signs that should raise alarms. These red flags can come in many forms: how he treats you, how he talks about the future, his actions, or even how he behaves when things go wrong. But here's the hard truth. Ignoring those red flags isn't just dangerous for your heart, it's dangerous for your mental and emotional well-being. When you first start seeing someone, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement of new love. You're experiencing all the highs, the butterflies, the late night conversations, the joy of getting to know someone on a deeper level. But during this period of infatuation, it's easy to gloss over things that deep down you know aren't right. Maybe he's quick to anger or dismissive of your feelings. Maybe he says things that make you uncomfortable, or he exhibits controlling behavior. These are not minor issues. They're signals that something deeper is going on, and they shouldn't be ignored. But what happens? You tell yourself, oh, he didn't mean it. Or it was just one bad moment. He's normally sweet. You start making excuses for his behavior because you don't want to face the possibility that this relationship might not be as perfect as it seems. You justify his actions, convincing yourself that things will improve or that it's just a phase. But let me tell you, this is a dangerous trap to fall into. When you ignore red flags, you're essentially telling yourself that your instincts don't matter. You're disregarding your gut feelings in favor of holding on to the hope that things will get better. And here's the thing, if someone shows you who they are, believe them. If he's constantly putting you down or dismissing your feelings, that's not something that magically gets better over time. If he's being selfish, manipulative, or disrespectful, that's not something you can fix with enough love or patience. These traits will only continue to show up, and they will eventually wear you down. A relationship is supposed to be built on mutual respect, trust, and understanding. But when you ignore red flags, you're setting yourself up for a toxic dynamic. You're allowing someone to treat you in ways that go against everything you deserve. And when that happens, you slowly lose pieces of yourself. Your confidence begins to erode. Your self-worth starts to slip. And worst of all, you might start to believe that the behavior you're accepting is somehow normal or deserved. This is the slippery slope that begins when you dismiss red flags. Think about the times when you felt uneasy or when something just didn't sit right with you. Your intuition was trying to tell you something. Women have this incredible ability to sense when things are off. It's a gift that can help you avoid heartbreak and protect your emotional well-being. But when you ignore it, when you push those feelings aside because you don't want to face the reality of a situation, you're doing yourself a disservice. The longer you stay in a relationship that doesn't align with your values, the more damage you do to your own emotional health. Now, I know the fear. No one wants to face the uncomfortable truth that the person they've invested in might not be the right one. But here's the reality. Staying in a relationship with someone who shows you red flags isn't just about risking your heart. It's about risking your happiness and peace of mind. It's about allowing someone else to dictate how you feel about yourself. And that's not a risk worth taking. Don't let love blind you. Don't let the idea of a perfect relationship make you ignore the reality of what's happening. Pay attention to how he treats you, how he makes you feel, and how he responds when things aren't going well. A man who truly loves and respects you won't make you question your worth. He won't make you feel small or unimportant, or like your feelings don't matter. When you see those red flags, take them seriously. Trust your intuition. Don't let the fear of being alone or the hope that things will change keep you stuck in a situation that's not serving you. In the end, ignoring red flags isn't just about avoiding hurt. It's about respecting yourself enough to walk away from situations that don't honor your value. When you start paying attention to those warning signs, you start protecting yourself. And when you protect yourself, you allow space for the right person to come into your life. Someone who respects you, values you, and treats you with the care and love you deserve. So next time you spot a red flag, don't dismiss it. Pay attention, take action, and trust that your instincts are always guiding you in the right direction. When it comes to relationships, one of the worst things you can do is lose your independence. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't invest time and energy into your relationship, but there's a fine line between sharing your life with someone and losing yourself entirely in the process. When you start to depend on someone else for your happiness, self-worth, or emotional stability, that's when problems start to creep in. It's easy to get swept up in the idea of where, instead of maintaining a strong sense of I. You're no longer your own person. You become one half of a unit that can be unstable or imbalanced. When you put all your focus on a man, you risk losing the parts of yourself that made you whole in the first place. A healthy relationship should enhance your life, not consume it. Think about it. If you give up your friendships, your career goals, your hobbies, and your passions for someone else, what happens if that person isn't there anymore? What happens when the relationship goes through rough patches, or when things end? You're left with nothing but a hole where your independence used to be. Your sense of self becomes intertwined with someone else's, and if they walk away, so do you. But let's face it, no one can fulfill all of your needs all the time. If you've given up everything that brings you joy and a sense of fulfillment just to keep your partner happy, you've set yourself up for disappointment. You have to be able to stand strong on your own 2 feet to maintain your individuality even when you're in a relationship. The most fulfilling relationships are the ones where both partners continue to grow, pursue their passions, and have their own lives outside of each other. This gives the relationship room to breathe and grow too. Let's not forget how important it is to have a sense of autonomy and self-worth. If you're emotionally reliant on your partner for validation or happiness, you're giving them too much power over your emotions. The best relationships are built on 2 individuals who are confident and secure in themselves. not codependent or emotionally drained by the other person. You should be able to thrive independently, then knowing that the love and support you get from your partner is a bonus to the love and support you give yourself. The danger of losing yourself in a relationship is also that it can lead to resentment. The more you give up your personal life, your time, and your energy for someone else, the more you may feel unappreciated. You may feel like you're giving everything and getting nothing in return. This imbalance can eventually create frustration and bitterness, both toward your partner and yourself. You might begin to resent the very person you're trying to love and care for because deep down, you feel like you're losing who you are in the process. Furthermore, when you lose your independence, you also lose your power. Being dependent on someone for your emotional happiness means that you're always relying on them to make things right. This imbalance makes it harder to make rational decisions when things get tough. You start making decisions based on fear of losing them, fear of being alone, or fear of not being enough. This can lead to unhealthy patterns in your relationship, like tolerating bad behavior or settling for less than you deserve because you're afraid of being left alone. Think about it. When you maintain your independence, you can make decisions from a place of strength, not desperation. You are in control of your happiness and emotional well-being, and that means you have the power to walk away from situations that aren't healthy for you. You don't need a man to feel complete. You should feel whole and at peace with yourself, with or without someone else. Only then will you be in a position to build a relationship that truly fulfills you, one where both of you are contributing equally to each other's growth and happiness. Maintaining independence is also crucial for your own personal growth. You can't grow as a person if you're constantly living for someone else. Pursuing your own interests, furthering your career, and maintaining your friendships gives you the space to develop as an individual. The more you work on yourself and continue to evolve, the more you'll bring to the relationship. A strong, independent woman is not only attractive to a man, but she also brings out the best in her partner. It creates a dynamic where both people are constantly inspiring each other to be their best selves. So, the next time you feel like you're giving up too much of yourself for the sake of the relationship, take a step back. Don't forget that you were a whole person before they came into your life. And you need to remain whole while you're with them. It's perfectly fine to love someone deeply, but it's essential to continue loving and taking care of yourself just as much. In the end, when you maintain your independence, you give your relationship the best chance of lasting. You give yourself the best chance at happiness, too. And that's something no one should ever compromise. One of the most important aspects of a healthy relationship is respect. And it's something that many women overlook in the early stages of dating. When you meet someone new, you're often swept away by the excitement of getting to know them. But it's crucial to pay attention to how they treat you, especially in moments of disagreement or stress. Respect is foundational. It's not something that should be earned over time. It's something that should be there from the beginning. If a man disrespects you in the early stages of your relationship, it's a red flag that cannot be ignored. Disrespect comes in many forms, and it's not always as obvious as harsh words or direct insults. Sometimes it's more subtle. How he talks about you when you're not around, how he dismisses your opinions or belittles your achievements, or how he ignores your boundaries. These actions speak volumes. If he doesn't make you feel valued or heard, he's not showing you the respect you deserve. When a man disrespects you, it erodes the foundation of the relationship, and without respect, trust and love cannot thrive. Another key aspect of respect in a relationship is understanding each other's differences. Every individual comes into a relationship with their own set of values, beliefs, and life experiences. A respectful man doesn't try to change who you are to fit his ideal. He respects your individuality, even when it's different from his own. If he tries to control you, shape your personality, then or manipulate you into becoming someone you're not, it's a major sign of disrespect. Respect also means being honest and transparent with each other. If he's not open with you about his intentions or is hiding things from you, that's disrespectful. A man who genuinely cares about you will be honest even when the truth is difficult. Dishonesty is a clear violation of trust and respect, and it can cause emotional pain that lingers long after the lies have been uncovered. In addition, respecting your boundaries is a crucial element of any relationship. Boundaries are not just about physical space. They also apply to emotional, mental, and personal areas of your life. If you've communicated something that makes you uncomfortable and he continues to disregard it, that's a clear indication of disrespect. Boundaries are a reflection of how much you respect yourself, and anyone who disregards them doesn't deserve to be a part of your life. A man who truly respects you will listen, understand, and honor your limits, even if they differ from his own. One of the hardest parts of respecting someone is being willing to compromise without losing yourself in the process. Compromise is an essential part of any relationship, but it should never come at the cost of your integrity or personal values. If a man expects you to constantly compromise on the things that are important to you without reciprocating the same level of understanding, he is not showing respect. True respect means that both partners meet each other halfway, honoring each other's needs and desires while still remaining true to who they are. Disrespect also extends to the way a man treats others around him. If he is rude, dismissive, or condescending to people he interacts with, whether it's the waitress at the restaurant, the cashier at the store, or his family members, it's a reflection of how he may eventually treat you. How someone treats others is a direct indication of their character. And if he isn't kind or considerate toward people who have no impact on his life, it's only a matter of time before you become the target of that same disrespect. Another important aspect of respect is recognizing and appreciating the efforts and contributions you make in the relationship. A man who respects you will acknowledge the work you put into the relationship, whether it's your emotional support, your time, or the sacrifices you make. If you feel like your contributions are constantly overlooked or taken for granted, it's a clear sign that the respect is lacking. In a healthy relationship, both partners appreciate each other's efforts, big or small, and express gratitude for them. The longer you allow disrespect to slide, the more it becomes normalized in your relationship. You start to accept less than what you deserve because you've grown accustomed to it. But the truth is, disrespect will never lead to a fulfilling or lasting relationship. It creates an environment of resentment, mistrust, and emotional distance. If you've ever felt small, unseen, or unimportant in a relationship, chances are respect was lacking. Without respect, you're setting yourself up for emotional burnout and heartache. If you're in a relationship where disrespect is present, it's essential to have a conversation with your partner about how their behavior is affecting you. If they genuinely care about you, they'll listen, apologize, and make an effort to change. However, if the disrespect continues despite your efforts to communicate, it's time to walk away. You are worthy of a relationship where you are treated with kindness, understanding, and respect. Never settle for less than that. Respect in a relationship is not a luxury. It's a necessity. Without it, love, trust, and affection have no foundation, it's vital that you never ignore the signs of disrespect and that you always demand the treatment you deserve. Respect is the cornerstone of any successful relationship, and if it's not there, it's time to reconsider whether that relationship is worth continuing. One of the most detrimental things that women often do in relationships is to ignore their own needs and emotions for the sake of keeping the peace or making their partner happy. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of being the perfect partner by always accommodating and never speaking up about what you truly need or want. But this approach can cause a slow buildup of resentment, frustration, and emotional neglect. The key to a healthy relationship is balance. It's not about being the perfect partner at the expense of your own happiness and well-being. If you continually suppress your needs or pretend that everything is okay when it's not, you are not only doing yourself a disservice, but also sabotaging the relationship in the long run. When you ignore your own needs for the sake of others, you lose sight of who you are and what you truly want from life. This can create a cycle of dissatisfaction that leaves you feeling empty and unfulfilled. At first, it might seem like small sacrifices here and there, letting your partner choose where to eat, adjusting your schedule to accommodate theirs, or putting their feelings ahead of your own. But over time, these seemingly harmless actions begin to accumulate, and you start to feel like your needs are no longer important. This leads to a breakdown in communication and understanding, which is the backbone of any relationship. You must remember that your feelings, desires, and boundaries matter. If something doesn't sit right with you, you have every right to express it. Ignoring your emotions to keep the peace may feel like the easier route, but in reality, it creates an unhealthy dynamic where one person's needs always take precedence over the others. When one partner constantly sacrifices their own happiness for the other, it can create an imbalance in the relationship, where the needs of one person are always being met while the other feels ignored or neglected. This kind of imbalance can eventually lead to feelings of bitterness, resentment, and emotional exhaustion. It's important to understand that speaking up about your needs is not a sign of selfishness or being demanding. It's an essential part of self-care. When you express your feelings openly and honestly, you create an opportunity for mutual understanding. A good partner will listen to your concerns and take them seriously, just as you would do for them. This kind of openness fosters a deeper connection where both partners are aware of each other's needs and are willing to work together to make sure those needs are met. It's about creating a relationship where both people feel heard, valued, and respected, not just one person doing all the giving. Another crucial aspect of addressing your needs in a relationship is the importance of maintaining your sense of self. When you completely lose yourself in someone else's desires, you no longer have a clear understanding of your own identity. If you don't take care of your own needs, you may find that you are no longer the person you were before the relationship started. This can create a feeling of disconnection from yourself, as if you are living someone else's life rather than your own. Maintaining your independence and pursuing your own interests and passions not only makes you more fulfilled, but also makes you more attractive to your partner. It's important to remember that a healthy relationship should support both individuals in becoming the best version of themselves, not force them to sacrifice their own identity. One of the key elements to remember in any relationship is that both partners should feel emotionally supported, not drained. When you are constantly ignoring your own emotional needs, you become emotionally exhausted and may even begin to feel invisible or unimportant. Your partner may not even be aware that you're suppressing your feelings because you're trying to keep the peace, but it's likely that over time, the lack of open communication will create a wall between you. If you're not sharing your feelings and emotions, your partner won't be able to understand what you truly need, and the connection you once had may begin to fade. While it's true that relationships require compromise and flexibility, you should never compromise on your own values, feelings, or needs. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, understanding, and a willingness to meet each other halfway. If you're constantly giving up your own needs for the sake of your partner, you're not allowing the relationship to flourish in a balanced way. You're doing yourself and the relationship a disservice by not ensuring that both people's needs are considered and met. In the end, when you stop ignoring your own needs, you create a relationship dynamic that is based on mutual care, respect, and fulfillment. You allow yourself to be vulnerable and open about your feelings, and your partner can do the same. This creates an atmosphere of trust and emotional intimacy, which is essential for a lasting and meaningful connection. But it all starts with recognizing that your needs are just as important as anyone else's. You deserve a relationship where you are not just giving, but also receiving. When both partners are emotionally nourished and fulfilled, the relationship becomes stronger, more authentic, and ultimately more rewarding. One of the most powerful things you can do in any relationship is to maintain your independence and not lose sight of your life outside of the relationship. While it's important to nurture the bond you share with your partner, it's equally important not to completely abandon your own personal interests, goals, and ambitions. Many women fall into the trap of centering their entire world around their partner. And while this might seem like the right thing to do, it's actually one of the quickest ways to lose yourself. Relationships should enhance your life, not become the sole focus of it. When you neglect your own personal growth, passions, and goals, you start to feel as though you are no longer living for yourself, but instead living solely for your partner. This creates an unhealthy dynamic where you begin to measure your worth based on the relationship and your partner's happiness. While it's natural to want to make your partner happy, it should never come at the cost of losing your own sense of self. The reality is, when you lose touch with who you are outside of the relationship, you start to feel unfulfilled and empty. Over time, this can lead to dissatisfaction, frustration, and even resentment. The beauty of a healthy relationship is that both people bring something unique to the table. You have your own life, interests, and aspirations, and your partner has theirs. These individual qualities should be celebrated, not sacrificed. When you give up your individuality for the sake of a relationship, you risk creating a sense of dependence on the other person, which ultimately leads to a loss of respect and balance. A strong relationship is built on two people who support each other's dreams, values, and personal growth, not on one person becoming completely dependent on the other. A crucial aspect of maintaining independence in a relationship is having your own support network. This includes friends, family, hobbies, and interests that are separate from your partner. When you rely solely on your partner for emotional support, companionship, and fulfillment, you put an immense amount of pressure on the relationship. You need to have other outlets to turn to when times are tough. No one person should be expected to fulfill every need in your life. By maintaining connections outside of the relationship, you ensure that you have a well-rounded support system that keeps you grounded and connected to the world beyond the relationship. Another important part of maintaining independence is recognizing that your identity is not defined by the relationship. You are a unique individual with your own experiences, opinions, and strengths. A healthy relationship should encourage you to grow as a person, not stifle your individuality. If your partner doesn't respect your individuality and tries to mold you into someone else, it's a clear sign that the balance is off. Instead of supporting each other's growth, the relationship becomes about control. You should never have to compromise your core values, beliefs, or passions for the sake of a relationship. When both partners are allowed to grow and thrive individually, they are better able to come together as a team, each bringing their unique strengths and perspectives to the table. It's also important to remember that being independent doesn't mean being emotionally distant or detached. It means having the emotional maturity to recognize that both partners are complete individuals who can stand on their own, but choose to come together to build something stronger. Independence in a relationship is about having the confidence to be yourself without fear of judgment or rejection. It's about knowing that you can stand alone if necessary, but also choosing to stand together in love and partnership. Too often, women find themselves losing their sense of self because they try to please their partner by conforming to what they think their partner wants or expects. But this can lead to feelings of resentment and insecurity because you're no longer living for yourself. When you prioritize your own happiness and well-being, you send the message that you value yourself and that you will not settle for anything less than a relationship where both parties contribute equally to each other's growth and happiness. Taking time for yourself doesn't make you selfish. It makes you healthy. The more you invest in your own personal growth and happiness, the more you can bring to the relationship. You become more interesting, more fulfilled, and more capable of giving love and support to your partner. Being independent in a relationship doesn't mean you're pulling away or distancing yourself. It means you're cultivating a relationship where both partners are strong, secure, and self-assured. You each have your own sense of purpose and identity, and you choose to share those parts of yourselves with each other to create a life together. In the end, relationships work best when both partners are emotionally mature and have a strong sense of self. When you retain your independence, you create a healthier dynamic where both partners are free to grow and evolve while still maintaining a deep and loving connection. It's not about losing yourself in someone else. It's about coming together to enhance each other's lives while continuing to be the best version of yourself. Remember, your value is not defined by the relationship you're in. You are worthy, independent, and strong, and it's crucial to never forget that